In the small town of Manti, behind the Eldius Temple, artifacts were discovered in a cave that may have been left there by an ancient people. It is believed that the cave is full of indigenous American artifacts found by John Brewer in 1955, which was actually a repository and tomb for ancient Jaredites. According to the Book of Mormon, when God scattered the people and confounded their languages at the Tower of Babel, a certain prophet and his family were commanded to build submarine-like boats and travel to the New World. There they grew into a mighty civilization that Mormon historian Hugh Nibley said was comparable to that of the Mongols. They flourished from that time they arrived in the Americas until their annihilation through civil war in 550 BC. According to the book, they numbered over 2 million people before their destruction. In an annihilation, it does not necessarily require that every last Jaredite is killed, proposing that there could have been many individuals far away from the battlefield. This means that there could have been many Nephite, Lamanite, and Jaredite presences in the Sanpete Valley. The year is 1955. Utah man John Brewer settled in the Sanpete Valley in the small town of Manti. The neighboring Indian tribe was ruled by Chief Wakara. As a gift to John Brewer, Chief Wakara brought many golden items and precious materials to John Brewer. In curiosity, John Brewer asked the Indian chief where he had found this. In response, Chief Wakara led John Brewer to the mountains near Manti. John claims to have found tools, pottery, brass bells, ancient records, and mummies of people measuring over 8 feet tall. The records, Brewer said, were carved on metal plates bound together by rings similar to Joseph Smith's description of the gold plates. Brewer hypothesized that the records were classified according to their importance, with the most important records on gold, then decreasing in valuable metals, then stone, and finally clay. Many of the Brewer plates, as they have come to be called, are in museum collections in Utah.
Here's the temple.
Yeah?
Dave's inside.
One more.
Dave's gonna get the most street cred on the channel now.
Yeah.
He just earned him all the street cred in the world. Usually black guys are scared of caves.
And then this is the inscriptions of the particular plate.
But you can see the Hebrew lettering here.
I was wondering if he ever told you about the inside of his cave, the East Cave, the one with the mummies in it.
Yeah.
And just what he described to you and what he told you about it and how he found it and just the whole story of what it looked like and how he hit it up. And
Story, you got time?
Sure.
It was on the right-hand side. There was a bunch of shelves cut into the side of the hill, and there was a bunch of bundles on them. And he said that he came back with pry bars and wedges and stuff and was able to raise one of those lids up far enough that he could shine a light in there. And there was a mummy, a well-preserved mummy in there, a giant guy with red hair in full armor, a big sword in there. And the other one, he said, had a blonde-haired woman in it. She was also large but not as big as him. She was also in armor. And on the other side, he said he didn't know what was in those bundles until he opened one up. He says there were cement box that was wrapped in juniper.
Okay, here's the entrance.
And I told him, I says, Criminy John, I says, you won't have to work on this ranch. I says, let's go get this stuff. And I says, we'll get enough money that we can buy a ranch.
Has he ever been in your cave? No. He doesn't even know where it's at? He don't. Not that much. Okay, has anybody ever been in besides you and your son? Not to my knowledge. Okay.
Dr. Jennings took that and took it to the Smithsonian.
And it was just full of artifacts and things. And that's why he was so opposed of letting anybody else in there, of taking anybody down there, because he didn't want anybody to disturb it. And he said if he could get it into the right hands, the right people, and that's why he went to the BYU, wanted them to help him. But they didn't do anything.
Dr. Jennings says whenever anybody won't tell you who or what, and it's a secret, and he won't tell you where he found it and all that, he said don't believe them. That's when it's fraudulent.
And there were 2 sarcophagi, the large ones, which eventually he and his son unlidded and found the 2 mummies, the male and the female, with the headdresses.
Well, he told me that he feared for his life and his family's life.